this is kind of a big and potentially controversial topic. Lake Tahoe tourist shoots and kills. Well, shoots a charging bear. It did end up dying, but not because of that particular shot.
Yes. So this is controversial, and this was actually, it went pretty viral on our website this weekend. So there's this guy. He has a vacation rental in Myers, which is just west of South Lake Tahoe, and it is disputed. Well, it's questioned whether he actually left the door open or whatever. But a bear gets into the home, and he comes home, hears the bear roaming around, grabs his pistol, walks upstairs, and again, we are just going off of what this guy said, but the bear charged at him, got on top of him, and the guy shot the bear in the head. The bear ran off. They found the bear the next day and euthanized it. So there's, for one, you can't fault the guy for shooting the bear if he felt his life was in danger.
He literally said the bear was on top of him.
On top.
And then there's no better time to shoot a bear than when it's literally physically on top of you.
Correct. But there are, the bear people up in Tahoe take issue with anything that happens with a bear that goes bad. Did he leave the door open? That's one thing that he should not have done. Did he walk into the home and trap the bear? And did the bear feel trapped and try to go out the way it came?
Well, I didn't know it was upstairs. That's a new information to me.
Yeah.
That is more of a trapped situation. I mean, this isn't a perfect scenario. Nobody is happy about this story, right? So, but what people are criticizing is this guy's decision making in that occasion.
Right. And look, you hear something upstairs, you grab your pistol. Is it a bear? Is it a human? Who knows, right? So you get maybe into a hallway and the bear comes out at you. I guess you can back away slowly or whatever, but really, I could see him being in a situation where he can't move, the bear can't move, and they're not on purpose by any means. They have to come to blows, the man is fully within rights to shoot the bear, even though, of course, if he did leave the door open and if he did corner it, it sucks for the bear, it sucks for everyone, but when it comes push to shove, you gotta protect yourself. And then they did this full investigation where the blood marks and all the evidence points to his story being true. But that doesn't stop, bear people from saying he's a piece of shit and, he did everything wrong. And so it is controversial. My whole thing is let's not tell the guy he's a terrible person. Let's use this opportunity to teach people how to keep bears from your home, what to do if they are in your home, so on and so forth.
I loved your opinion piece about this. First, the big mistake I think that everyone can almost agree on is that the bear got in, and the bear didn't have a key. So there was an easy way to get into this cabin, right? Now, you wrote in this opinion piece that, while that's not smart, it's not illegal.
Right.
And also another really good point I think you made in this is this guy didn't want a bear in his house.
Right.
He just wasn't asking to come home.
He wasn't
to
trying to trap it.
The bear wasn't, and the bear expert in this article was talking about how the bear knows it's not supposed to be there. The bear is in another den, basically, in its mind. And so when it hears other things, it knows that it's probably not in a good place. One of the facts that stood out to me in the article was the fact that this was a pretty large bear. It was larger than
400
average,
to 500 pounds.
which in this article they explain how probably means that it's eating a lot of human food. So it's more used to those human-like environments, those human dens.
They don't typically grow to be that big in the wild. So evidence is showing that bear is used to consuming human food.
Also, to me, what stood out is a bear of that size tends to be, whether male or female, alpha tends to be, if another bear approaches it, it's like, no.
Yeah.
And I can see the bear feeling that way a little bit, feeling cornered and feeling like it's fight or flight, but there's no flight. So here we go to fight.
Right.
I do love the fact that the law enforcement have completely corroborated this guy's story. They're like, listen, no, there were no cameras, but all physical evidence points to this guy telling the truth. He wasn't hunting bear. He was in his cabin in his own rights, and he shot the bear in the head, and it still got away, which is fascinating to me. But they did find it the next day. They followed, they tracked it with the blood and what have you, and they did have to euthanize it, which is terrible, and that's why everyone is criticizing this man. But I mean, what would you do? Like if you're in the same situation as that guy, tell me you would make different decisions. And hindsight is always 20/20.
If there's a human in your house, no matter the reason, you're legally allowed to shoot them. So are we valuing a bear's life over a human's life? I don't think we should. But some people wouldn't agree with me. I guess my issue came with the Bear League, Tahoe's Bear League, which is this huge organization who educates and protects bears, and they help deal with wildlife for all bear issues, really. And I think they do a really good job in a lot of ways. But they also sort of take the bear side in some of these situations. They posted on their Facebook page that they had talked to one of the investigators and learned all this stuff, and they don't believe the guy's story. And they're just going off hearsay, whereas the wildlife investigators gave a quote that says, the guy's don't victim blame here. This guy is a victim, and he was using self-defense.
They're vilifying the victim, and that's
right.
It's absurd, and I totally agree with you on that.
And I guess my problem with them saying all this stuff is that they are victim blaming instead of educating, right? So it's like, don't say this guy sucks, this guy. Just say, okay, here's what he could have done wrong, that since this has become a very, popular story, that we should use it to educate. Doors locked, put food away, put trash in, bear-proof receptacles. There's all these things that he could have done. By the way, if there's a bear in the home, don't corner it. Don't go find it. If you hear it, be loud, scare it out, and leave the entrance they came in open so it can run out, because it's going to know where it came in. So it drives me nuts, because these people do really good work in helping bears and making sure that they, I guess, quote unquote, have rights. So that they're not just killed every time they make a mistake. They are wild animals, but at some point, some of these bears are just are making mistakes, and they are putting people at risk, and you have to admit that. And that was my whole problem with it. But this type of stuff is bound to happen with all these bears getting big, and so when you advocate for them so much, this population gets bigger, and these more and more of these things are going to happen.
We are a pro-animal, especially indigenous animal podcast. And so obviously, again, this is not a positive story for anybody, but what we want to emphasize is, don't victim shame here. Use it as a learning. I mean, I literally learned some things in reading this. I guess I'd never thought about leaving the door that they came in open, because that's what they're natural. I mean, it makes sense to me. I've never really thought about that.
Yeah.
If I was this guy and walked into a cabin, I think it'd be pretty clear that it's not a burglar, it's a bear, because they would have trashed everything, you know what I'm saying? And so he should have, if he didn't, and I don't know that he didn't, leave somehow they were cornered, and this guy had a bear on top of him, and he had to shoot him. So we hate that the bear is dead, but stop victim shaming here.
Right. Yes. And it's also so say you're on vacation and you have a million things going on. You got plans here, you're going to the beach here, you're hiking this, whatever. And maybe you had a couple beers, maybe you're doing this and that. And sometimes, these bear stuff just isn't top of mind at all times. And so we just need to keep reminding people how to deal with it in Tahoe because, and especially, and I get why, say you're visiting from somewhere else and you think, oh, there's a person breaking into my house and stealing my stuff. But in Tahoe, probably bear break-in to human break-ins are like 10-1, right? Like bears just break in a lot in Tahoe. So you just have to know where you're at, know what you're dealing with. And I don't blame the guy for grabbing his pistol, but
I think that was the right move. I mean, grabbing the pistol was a good idea. The guy might be dead if he didn't do that.
I'm just telling, these bears are skittish. They're not attacking you in your home. If you're really loud and you let their pathway out of the house, they're out of there quick. So, tough story all around. Sucks that the bear was eventually euthanized. Crazy that this bear got shot in the head and didn't die. Crazy.
They got big heads.
These bears are, yeah. But it just a fascinating story, a good educational opportunity, and I'll leave it at that.